All right, BugeyeBob back here one more time. Not really much to talk about this week. I spent most of this week pounding and beating on the ass end of this car. Show you what I got done. Some minor bumps around in here taken care of, a little bit more to do there. Some bumps around in here taken care of, a little bit more to do. This over here was a major bump out. I've knocked that down to where it's almost flat. In the process, brought this out some more down through here. One of my viewers on Patreon let me know that the bottom panel, repair panel from here on down, is available in the UK. This panel from here for the whole top rear deck is available. However, the whole top rear deck is, I think, close to 1,300 pounds, which is probably around $1,450 US or $1,500, and would probably be another $300 or $400 to ship because it's just such a big piece. But I am ordering this piece that goes from like halfway here down around. That gives me a clean shape for this right in here all the way across, so I have a good setting for from here over to here on the bottom, which will make it much easier to do this horrible repair up in here. It will also make it easier for me to repair the boot deck inside here. The company that sells this repair panel sometimes sells the boot deck, but that boot deck panel, their die needs to be rebuilt, and they say it'll be about a year before that die is rebuilt. So I guess I'm going to have to either shell out ungodly amounts of money to get a new boot deck from someone else, which is like $500, $600, or I'll just make replacement panel or panels, may do more than one, that go in and patch in all of this missing stuff. I don't have a very good idea of how this curves down up here. I don't have a very good idea how it curves down from this part down to meet the panel back here, but once I get that panel in, then I will have a good idea, and I can make panels that go in, turn around, and go down. Gonna have some fun doing these reinforcement thingies, but such is life. In the process of beating this all out, I learned that my hammers, as they were delivered from the factory, are not exactly the best to do it with because they're all delivered with flat faces. And when you're trying to metal finish in here a flat face, you can actually end up causing more damage because the edge of it will hit and dig in. Like right there's a tiny little bump. I want to be able to put my dolly behind it. And you notice the change in tone. It started out kind of dull and then went to a pinging sound. Well, if you have a flat dolly, you're going to be hitting and not being able to get that, where it was hitting but not pinging was where the metal was being pushed down. So right there, first stroke brought the metal down, and it did it really well, by the way. And then the next couple of strokes, you could hear it ping, and those were actually starting to stretch the metal. So that's good. That's good. Now before, when I was trying to work this all down with the flat crown, or the flat faces of the hammers, it didn't go down very good. It took a hell of a lot of work. Crown faces work a hell of a lot better for bringing those spots down, as you just saw. So let's take a look at how I crowned the faces of those hammers. So after all that hammer and dollying, I came to the conclusion that I really needed to dress up the faces of my hammers and my dollies. As they come from the factory, the hammers all have a flat face. They got a little bit of round around here. But what you really need is you really need to have a slight concave on them. So that's what they look like after all the hammer and dollying compared to the flat face that you see that comes from the factory. And the way I'm doing it is I'm just using the belt sander like so. And you notice the more I do, this untouched center gets smaller and smaller. And when it gets to the point where there's really just almost nothing there that's untouched, and it's pretty even all the way around, then I'll figure it's done. And as you can see, it now has just a very, very slight crown to it. But what that does is that means that when I hit something with it, instead of possibly damaging it by hitting on one of the edges, I'm more likely to get it just in the very center there. Now I'll go around and trim up the outside edges a little bit. Now you notice that I was using this spot on the belt, and the reason is, there's a platen under that side, there's a roller under this side, but right in here, that belt gives just a little bit. So that's why I'm using that area. And I think that's good enough. It's also hot, it burned the hell out of my hand on the back. Now I'm gonna do this little one. These two hammers came from the factory with a fairly sharp point on them. This one I ground down from the sharp point to a fairly flat one. This one I ground down just a little bit so that I can get just little tiny spots when I'm trying to flatten things out. Ball peen hammer was crap. This one is a plum that says 49C on it, which means this was one that the military threw away, probably because it was starting to have pieces chip out of it, I'm guessing. Or else it was the fact that the handle was not solid on the head. It wasn't really one piece, so you had the possibility that the head could come off and cause damage to an aircraft engine. This is an old dolly I picked up, I don't know where. Polished it up a little bit. Same with this one, heel dolly. This one here came with just this area here polished up, and I polished up the full curve back here and polished up the inside here. I actually wish I could get my hands on more dollies that had inside curves like that, but you just don't see them anyplace. That's an old one I haven't touched, don't need to. This hammer here says it's got a shrinking head on it, and this was a pattern of fine points. And everybody that knows any damn thing on YouTube basically says, don't try shrinking with them because you're just going to make a damn mess of the metal, and they're right. But what I did do is I put some curve in it and flattened it down enough to where now I can use it as a dolly hammer, or when, you know, maybe there's one or two points in the middle that I want to get knocked down some. I don't know, we'll find out. This square hammer, I guess you're supposed to use along the edges of doors, but there's actually a special door hammer for that, so I don't know what the hell they did that. I've put a little bit of curve this way in it, and just a tiny bit of curve this way in it. A little bit going this way, maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, and a little bit going this way, but not very much. Chunks of steel like this also make interesting dolly shapes, useful ones. So that's the work on the dollies. Okay, that's it for this week. Kind of a short video, but really, I don't think that you folks wanted to watch me spend, I don't know, 8-10 hours just pounding the hell out of metal. If you do want to see that, drop a comment down below and let me know, because I'll gladly record it and put it up if you folks want to watch it. I may put some extended videos up on Patreon in the members only section over there. So what have we got done this week? We got a bunch of dents pounded out. We found out where we can order some critical replacement parts. And one of those replacement parts I don't think I mentioned is the piece that holds the rubber gasket underneath of the rear of the bonnet right at the firewall. It's a piece that is about 5/8 of an inch wide, 5/8 of an inch high, and has a long curving arc like this in it. And that's unobtainium in the U.S. I don't think I could even find anybody that could make one of those in the U.S. Not without it costing me, $400 or $500. Price, getting it from the UK, the price for the item, knowing what it takes to manufacture it, and I do have a lot of experience. I worked in estimating in a company that did sheet metal work, laboratory casework and stuff. I have an idea what it takes to do that stuff, folks. And so it's kind of like, yeah, pay the money, get the part. Having it shipped with the other component I need, that part by itself would cost a fortune to ship, but including it in with this other part, it shouldn't add hardly anything to the cost of the shipping. And like I told them, if they need to make it fit in with that other part, they can just slice it in half down the middle. That's fine, because I can easily just, tack weld or weld it back together, and probably nobody will even be able to tell the difference. But I can't make that part myself. Not without a shitload of welding and just a lot of work, and it's just better to buy the damn part if you can. So like, share, comment, subscribe, click that little notification bell, and click on the all to make sure you get notified of everything that gets put up. If you don't click on the all, then it just says, well, I'm only going to show you things that are sent to you personally. Well, if you want to see all the videos I make, you got to click on that all subscriber button. What else? Membership over on Patreon helps support the channel. Really appreciate the help from the paying members over there. I thank them dearly. It's not a lot of money, but every little bit helps. If you have any questions, put them in the thing below. If you know of a source in the U.S. other than Morris and I think BugeyeParts.com or whatever it is, Bugeye Guys, but I think they run BugeyeParts.com or eBay. If you know of any place other than those three that are known for carrying repair parts for a Bugeye, pop a note in and let me and other people know. I try to keep a list of all the places that have or sources for parts, but that doesn't mean I've got them all. And maybe you know somebody that you've dealt with that you trust that can help others out when you tell us about them. So other than that, you folks have a blessed life and a great day. BugeyeBob over and out.